Welcome to the Coach Craig Kenneth Show. I am your host, Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm your co-host, Coach Victoria.
And this is a caller-driven show where we like to have guests on that are talking about their life and issues that they have going on. We like to talk about mental health issues, relationships, dating, could be work issues, family issues, whatever.
We like to talk about all these different issues under the sun.
If you don't know who we are, we both are therapists, and we have a breakup channel that we've been focused on breakups on for almost a decade. But we are therapists, so we have worked in the field for many, many years, working with all kinds of issues.
Right.
So we've got an interesting caller today, okay? And we're going to call him Ben.
Ben 10.
After Ben Kenobi, not Ben 10.
Why not both?
By the way, he chose that name, kind of. He's wearing a Star Wars shirt. So I gave him that name. And he's been watching the channel for a long time. He's done a coaching with Margaret. He did a coaching with me several years ago, and we did email coachings. And the struggle that he's having is that even though he's done so much work, he's having a hard time getting the people that he really likes to like him back. So, Ben, can you hear us?
Yes. Hi, Coach Craig. Hi, Coach Victoria. Loud and clear here.
Aren't you supposed to say hello there?
Hello there.
Hello there. That's right. Saving you guys from the funny creatures.
Come on. And he's wearing a Star Wars shirt too.
That's hello there from Star Wars?
Yeah.
Hello there is from Star Wars?
Yeah. That's what Ben Kenobi says.
Am
I wrong, Ben?
That's what my neighbor says.
You're absolutely right, Coach Craig.
He does it a few times in the movie, so it's like at good moments though.
I see.
I missed the call.
Someone's in the bathroom and he goes, hello there. I'm just kidding. Victoria's never seen Star Wars, so I get to say anything.
You could, I'd believe it.
Actually, the last time we saw each other and we were filming, I made her watch Yoda lifting the X-Wing from the swamp.
Honestly, better than I expected. I might watch 2 more minutes of it.
That sounds about right. She fell asleep during Guardians of the Galaxy.
I fall asleep during any movie. You get far enough along.
So Ben, tell us what's going on.
Hello, world. This is me, Ben, from out of the US, I'll admit. I'm an expat living abroad. I'll just gun it right away. I've been through a couple bad breakups. I'm happily divorced, though. I would like to put that out there. My ex-wife is not at all a topic that I'm worrying about at the moment because I'm all cool with that and all is good. We have no children. And so there's no real strings attached anymore there.
Okay.
And yeah, I did want to pick up on one thing. Recently, you talked about different laws in different countries where when you break up during marriage, you have to stay married for a while until the actual divorce is. In the country where I live, that also is a 1-year rule or law. Minus, of course, if there's like violence or something like that, then those are exceptions. But so during this separation time, is what we call it, I started dating and I met someone who I was super into. Turned out to be the typical anxious avoidant trap and got my heart super broken just after 3 months, where she literally moved to the other side of the world. I mean, you can't get that much more avoidant than that, but there are other issues going on there too. As you always say, Craig, after 9 months, just barely, so to say, me doing better, she reached out on the day I had a date with another girl.
Wow.
You can't even make this stuff up.
You can't.
It's crazy. And we say the disturbance in the force. I mean, you must have been shocked being a Star Wars fan yourself.
I mean, I was completely dumbfounded. I woke up in the morning, turned my phone on, and I had posted a little tiny story on WhatsApp. I don't know how familiar how everyone is with WhatsApp. You can post little stories there, and I just obtained my degree, and so a whole bunch of people were like congratulating me and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, one of her messages was there with like 6 pictures and this weirdo text that she wrote. And like, I hope it's okay to write and just want to tell you I'm all good. And just like, sort of say nonsense. I wouldn't want to call it a direct, indirect or indirect, direct approach because she didn't ask me anything and she didn't have like, I don't have a cat. I used to have an other quite exotic pet, but don't have her anymore either. But it was just kind of off the ball. And so I really tried my best to just concentrate. And I took my bicycle and went in the forest outside of where I live and just tried to gather my energy because I was looking forward to this other date. And then I
So it was the
replied.
day of the date. You actually got
It
the text before the date.
before the date. That was that
Oh,
morning of the date, so to say. And she was a girl from work, and she helped me through some issues. And she was apparently kind of new in the little town where my company is. And I asked her, well, should we go out and, show you 1 or 2 places maybe? And she was like, oh, yeah, sure. And it was attractive. And I thought, well, why not? You never know. And
pretty
yeah,
wild.
so
Yeah.
that morning, the other one, let's call it Charlotte, she reached out. And
Wow.
I
And
didn't
then it throws your vibe off because you're focused on the new
Right.
date, and then now you're like,
absolutely.
Back of your head, what am I going to say to my ex? Or am I going to respond to that at all?
and then it's almost like, did you feel like kind of like you're cheating on your ex by going on the date?
No, because again, she was literally on the other side of the world. I Googled it, in fact, from where, in general, where I live to where she is. It's like there's not many more places that are actually further away. We're talking about maybe within 500 miles or something like that. I mean, there's not really that much further away you can go.
Yeah.
And I knew she was there, and yeah, I was still hurt. And till this day, sometime getting around to why I'd like to talk with you guys today. Um, but anyway, I did the date and it was actually fairly nice, but nothing turned out with her. And the next day I answered her. So the next day I replied to her with a sort of say phrase that's common in the area where she is, and uh, with a short reply and just asking how she's doing, and haven't heard from her since. And that's all of 6 years ago. So
Wow.
Wait, so she reaches out to tell
yeah,
you this stuff, and
yeah,
then you reply, and she didn't reply to your reply?
no. I sent like a couple days
She's
later,
like, I
like
was just trying to ruin that date you were going on last
yeah,
night.
I just wanted to see
But
if you would reply. I wasn't going to reply after that, but
apparently I
pretty
already
much.
did my job and the universe knew it. So I'm not
I
replying.
mean, you can't make this stuff up, as you guys always say. I mean, for real. And funny enough, let's fast forward a while. I, in the meantime, had a different girlfriend who was a very, very super kind woman who I loved greatly, and she did me as well. She loved me as well. And it was a long distance relationship for the entire 4.5 years, which was for a while pretty good
Wow.
because everyone has their own lives, and I have a very time intensive hobby of bicycling. I road bike and mountain bike, and you know I'm kind of fast sometimes, and not everyone can keep up, and sometimes it's better to ride alone. And so, I did my stuff during the week, and I had my job, of course, as she did too. And on the weekends, we spent time with each other, doing other activities. And after 4 years, it just kind of
Mm.
kind of deflated, just kind of by itself. I mean, there were no fights, we didn't argue, and um, now it's going to get a bit spicy. I kind of developed feelings for a colleague of mine during that time.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
we
You mean
were
during the relationship?
during the relationship.
How long
Disclaimer,
into how long
yeah,
into the relationship was it where you started?
around those 4 years, pretty much. The new colleague I've known for 2 years now, a bit more than 2 years. And first, it was just a colleague. I mean, an attractive colleague, okay, but we just worked with each other and we got to know each other more and more. And it seems like, although she was in a relationship as well, we were not all that unsympathetic towards each other. I don't know if that's correct English. Pardon me. I've not lived in the US for several years. um, and I don't know, I just kind of lost my interest for the girl I was with then, although it was still a good relationship. I
How
hope,
often were you seeing her? You said it's long distance, but how often were
yeah,
you seeing each other?
every weekend, every
Okay,
weekend.
so
Yeah.
okay. No,
Yeah,
so that
and
can get tough because you've worked through you've had a lot of anxiety, right?
I did, yeah. I wanted to state also, I've done all the workbooks. I'm halfway through the creative healing course as well, which of course I'm picking up on again now. But
What do
I
you think
watched
of it
all
so
your video.
far?
Yeah, I watch all your videos. Every single one, whenever I prepare my dinner or like breakfast or whatever, one of your videos is always running. So it's good for me to just listen to, like not
How do
many
you like
other.
how do you like the course?
Um, I think it's very good. I do like the artsy stuff. I'm a very technical guy. My job is very technical, and I do appreciate art. I know you guys put a whole lot of effort into it, and it's fun to watch the little sketches where
Cartoons?
you, you have your little accents and stuff like that. I mean, it's cute. It's the point that's being brought over, not the entertainment factor. But
We did want to
yeah,
make it fun though.
Yeah.
no, it is. It is. Don't misunderstand me, please. It's fun to do. It's like when you've done the workbooks, it's like this, not to say rigorous, but it's always a video and a bunch of questions. And
Yeah.
then there's another video and a bunch of questions. And that's like, how many pages is it? Like 800 some. I didn't count them
I think
all,
it's
but
like yeah, I think it's like 600
or
pages.
600. I mean, quite
One
a
through
lot.
10.
And yeah, and great stuff. I mean, I felt truly proud of myself when I finished the 10th one, and I was like cloud nine. I mean, I felt really, really good. And
It's a
shortly
lot of hard
afterwards,
work.
yeah, it took me about a good year, because minus work and minus my hobbies, I just don't really do much. It's not that I have a boring life, but I don't go out downtown and just sit around alone and see if someone wants to talk with me. And that sounds pretty sad, but I just don't do that. I'd rather just be at home and refuel my energy here in my house or in my forest.
I mean, it makes sense to me as to why, at the time you were telling us about your colleague, why you developed that relationship with her. Because when you're at work, you're there most of the day, Monday through Friday,
Right,
I assume. So
right,
it's a lot of time to connect with someone. And at work, you have a shared purpose, you have a shared goal, you're working on something,
right.
building something, you're a team. So,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. So what happened with that relationship? Did that pan out? Did it not?
Well, no, sadly, one of the reasons I also want to talk with you guys. I left my other girlfriend around October, shortly after my colleague, let's call her Olivia. She left her boyfriend shortly before, and I thought, well, I mean, if not now, when, might as well just start to take action and see what happens. And of course, I was very upset leaving Francesca, the 4.5 year girlfriend, because it was a very good relationship, minus the long distance part.
Mm.
And today we understand each other very. No, that's German. We get along very well. We're in contact. She does my hair again. She's a hairdresser because not many other people do that well. And I fix her bike, and we're very happy to have each other in our lives. Although she has a new boyfriend and I'm single, but there are no romantic feelings anymore.
Mm.
And Craig, I believe you mentioned that in a video you released shortly, that usually you don't want to stay in contact with your ex unless it's completely clear that there are no feelings involved anymore.
Sure.
And
And both be yeah, because you don't want it to be hard or challenging for either person.
Right, right.
exactly, yeah, it
But
was hard at the beginning, to be honest, because I wasn't so sure how she was, and of course she was also very sad. She didn't see it coming really, and kinda, but not. I mean, you kind of feel it, but you don't, or but I'm just happy we didn't have any arguments and no one betrayed one another or owes the other one money or some, stuff like that. It was just like a clean breakup because of uh, circumstances. Yeah. And so she was good. But then shortly afterwards, which with my colleague, it kind of got weird. I
how
asked her
so?
out. Yeah.
You
We had a
so
long
you
weekend. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we had a long weekend ahead of us. We were talking in the office, and I was wondering, well, what are you doing on the weekend? Because we usually talked about pretty much everything, and not intimately about sexual content and stuff like that. But she shared very, very private and intimate things from her life, without even me asking. and her body language was all kind of towards me as well, and she was looking and laughing at my stupid jokes and stuff like that. You know, those typical signs you can, if you want to try and read between the lines, that, you know, if a coworker is kind of interested in you, then they were kind of like all there.
Yeah.
And so I gunned it and asked, well, how about we go out for dinner? And then she like bashfully laughed and said maybe. So it's like, no. All right, I got that so far. And I said, well, all right, whatever, then maybe another time.
Oh, I mean, that might have taken her by surprise, you know.
Right. And it could have been a flirty maybe, right? I like the idea of consent being, you know, a yes is a yes, a maybe is a no, and a no is a no. So I
Yeah.
like the respect from that, but I also think maybe could be an invitation for, you know, a different question. It maybe could mean at a later time, maybe could mean in a different way.
Maybe it could be I have to think about it, or I have a date with somebody this particular weekend and I don't know how that's gonna go.
Right. Maybe could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're both very right. All those things and many along
And
with
dinner
other
could be
reasons.
overwhelming sometimes too.
Hmm.
What's that? Sorry? What can be
Dinner can be
overwhelming?
overwhelming
Dinner.
sometimes
Yeah.
too.
Not for me, but
She's always eating, but it's like rabbit.
Um, yeah, I don't know. So I just kind of left her alone.
Don't eat that fern.
go back there and take a nibble.
Is,
So you were thinking
is it
about
is it a real fern? I'd like to ask, or is
I
it
can't,
plastic?
that,
maybe.
maybe.
Okay, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, so I kind of played it cool for another couple of weeks, and then shortly before Christmas, and so I thought, well, I mean, I was really into her. I was really, really into her, and of course, adjusting my ex-girlfriend still a little bit, but I was just into Olivia. I wanted her. And so I asked her again if she wanted to maybe meet over the Christmas break, 2 or 3 weeks. Each of us had vacation, so to say, and uh, same reply, laughing, kind of embarrassed, bashfully, so to say, saying maybe again. And
Yeah, it's hard to know because, you know, maybe it was just so overwhelming because it's like if you work with somebody, then sometimes people think, well, what if it doesn't work out? I don't want to, you know, there's some interest, but what if it doesn't work out? I don't want it to be awkward, or I don't want us to not be able to get along anymore. So a lot of times people are thinking like that. You know,
it,
they might be more open to it if they thought there wasn't going to be a major fallout or consequence if the date doesn't go well, you know,
so
or
true, so true. And you can also kind of consider that like a red flag among colleagues, but I kind of don't want to dismiss the idea that maybe since you're at work like 40 hours a week, that you just meet people there. And why can't it happen? You know?
no, I mean, it
Uh,
could.
Yeah,
You
a
may
lot of people meet at work.
Sure. I mean, you
right.
could always like have said or tried something like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say if you had an opportunity to maybe eat lunch together at work, you know,
Mm,
that might have not been so overwhelming.
Hmm.
You know, normally I
yeah.
don't like to do lunch, but in this situation where it's like if it's overwhelming her or maybe she's not sure, just seeing you out of the work environment could have been different for her, where she would have been like, "Oh, I had a nice lunch," and then you start eating lunch together sometimes, and you know, things develop a little bit more there.
Yeah, and I could see how you would
Yeah.
have a predicament because you don't want to come off as you're pursuing too heavily and scaring someone away. But when they respond with a maybe, then you're kind of confused as to
Yeah.
how to respond to that. You're like, do I pull away?
I don't
Do
want
I
HR.
ask more directly?
I don't want HR showing up in
Yeah,
my
right,
office.
right.
And you're so right. I mean, you don't want to get in trouble with them, and I don't want to be sexist, but the men usually always pull the shorter straw when HR is involved. It's just how it is. I'm sorry. You can edit that out if you don't want it in there, but it's just how it is.
I've never worked in an office, so
Maybe I should ask Victoria.
he's never worked in an office either. I mean, we've kind of worked in an office, but not in an
Yeah,
office.
Not
We've
like a
we've
yeah.
gone to an office.
been in an office.
We've been in an office. Not the day in, day out of being in an office all day.
Right.
Yeah. It is a different environment, that's true. And coming around to somewhat around today, I sort of say I went and don't reach out anymore to her. I didn't text her privately anymore because we had already exchanged numbers. I didn't ask her how her weekend was. I wasn't like cold and an a-hole, but I just retracted, let's just say. I pulled away, at least tried to my best, all the interests I could. And maybe it's important to note that we are in the same department, in fact, and we're actually sharing the same office. So we were spending quite a lot of time with each other, but that situation has changed now. She's not in the same office as I am, and she's in fact leaving soon for a while. She'll be back though. And I just wanted to say real quick that I kind of stuck that up until about end of July or mid-August, like around now, and we're slowly starting to talk again together.
Okay.
And yeah, we had a little coffee, for example, last week at work, just the two of us. And but now that she's leaving fairly soon, I'm not gonna, it's silly. She'll come back, but I don't want to do something like that. And keeping my options open, where I'd
Does
like
she
to,
ever talk about her personal life, if she's dating anyone, or?
until I asked her out the second time, we spoke very clearly and in detail about each other, about her dating experience that she had until September when she broke things off, and I shared lots of things with my relationship, and the good and the bad and stuff like that. And that morning she came in when she had broken it off with her boyfriend, that Monday afterwards, she was kind of upset. And so I'm not supposed to say this, but we had a little Jägermeister together. Do you know what Jägermeister?
Sure.
You get those in the little shots, and we're not supposed to have alcohol on site. And again, edit this out if you don't want it in there, it's fine. But yeah, that kind of lightened her up a little bit. And I wanted to be like a good guy, not the nice guy. I want to be a good guy.
Yeah.
And moving away from her,
But
of course,
the thing
yeah,
is that just because if she doesn't have an interest now, it doesn't mean that she couldn't have an interest in the future.
Right.
And
maybe,
so,
And if
right.
she was coming out of a relationship, then that impacts things too. She might still
Also,
be
yeah,
processing,
not over it.
right. She might not want to jump into something else right away. She might want to take her time. Maybe might be, I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
I,
And so
yeah,
it's important that you don't get upset or lose emotional self-control or get angry or hurt. Now, I'm not speaking just to you, I'm saying men in
yeah,
general,
everyone,
because a
right,
lot of times, just because somebody's not interested right now, it doesn't mean that they won't be at some point.
And you all also have to realize for women, being with a man is dangerous, statistically is dangerous.
right.
So the risk to a woman's physical safety is so much higher for a woman than it would be for a man entering the dating world. And that's something that you have to consider if a woman is being hesitant or isn't super enthusiastic from the get-go, right? So these are things that I think a lot of men on their day-to-day, they don't experience.
Of course. And I've had guys where I've flipped it and said, could you imagine
Mhm.
if you lived on another planet where the females were twice the size of you, and they would get angry if you rejected them?
Right.
Or if so imagine what it would be like for you. You'd be real hesitant
Mhm.
to reject somebody, and you'd come up with excuses or come up with reasons that might not make them lash out or try and get angry or get revenge or whatever. So, you know, it's tied together. So if a man loses emotional self-control and he's like, oh, well, you're ugly anyway, gets angrier, then it just proved her point that she made the right decision. You can't handle your emotions, you're not mature, you're petty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why even if she's not interested now, if you're like, okay, well, that's fine. I thought it would be fun, but if you're not interested, maybe one day you will, or
Yeah.
if you ever change your mind, let me know. And
Yeah.
then you go about living your life, having fun, and you just don't know, at some point she could think, you know what? He is a nice guy and he didn't
Mm.
get mad when I said no or something like that.
I think the questions become, how can I take some healthy social risks? How can I take some healthy dating risks
Mm.
while being respectful and reading the room?
Yeah.
I think that really is kind of that balance. You don't want to overwhelm someone, but you also don't want to be so indirect and too nonchalant to where now others don't know if you're interested or not.
Right. Yeah, it's just kind of difficult, which is kind of what I want to get around to without being a little whiny boy who doesn't get his way, or child. It's just kind of tedious to get let down or rejected, or meeting new people. I mean, of course, I meet other people too, and it just doesn't pan out. And I don't have a super special taste in women. I mean, I have my standards. I'll just say I think it's okay for everyone to have them, and a lot of them fall right through the sieve from the get-go. But the ones I would like, would be more interested in, possibly either they're just about to ship and go somewhere else for like the rest of their life, so I'd have the next long distance relationship, which I'm not about to do again, or they're just not interested, and it's kind of upsetting because I don't want to portray myself better than I possibly am, but I think I'm a decent guy. I'm smart. I have a good job. I'm honest. I'm a good guy, and it just seems that not many women are interested. I don't even have like that much baggage. No kids. I mean, there's like the package isn't all too bad, but they're just not taking the bait.
Yeah, and this is something that, I hear actually on both sides. I hear this from women
Mm,
and from men often.
right.
Um, I want to ask, what are some of the things that you were looking for? In your eyes, what would be an ideal partner? Who would you like to share your life with?
Um, I if I could wish myself a partner like that, it would be someone in, let's just say, maybe 20-mile, maybe 30-mile radius. So it's not that far if we don't move in like right with each other. I mean, that's not a good thing to do anyway, but
Mm,
I don't want a long distance relationship. I think intellectually, and that's not meaning educationally, we should be on a similar level. My previous girlfriend had, I don't mean to belittle her, but like zero education, but she was a very smart woman and we got along great. Like my parents, for example, my father's a doctor and my mom doesn't have any real education either. And they're also a good couple, still 50 years married. And that's not always what I mean. Just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're smart. And just because you don't have one doesn't mean you're dumb,
mm,
Um, saying that as I have a degree, of course, but that would be nice, and maybe someone without kids, because I like kids, but I just don't want my own, and I don't want to take the responsibility of other people's kids. It's just something I'm not into,
Yeah.
and um, maybe similar sporting hobbies. Like I like to ride bicycles a lot, or at least be outdoors a fair degree. But I love watching movies and sitting on my couch watching maybe Star Wars in my home theater.
Oh, well,
Uh,
you don't want to include Star Wars in that. No one's ever going to be interested if
that
Star
that
Wars.
would be a little that would be a little
I'm sure
sugar
not
on
going to be
top, the
so.
little cherry on top. I
I'm
mean, that would
kidding.
be, yeah,
You'll
not
find
a
a lot of
must.
men that want to watch Star Wars with you.
Uh,
They're ready to
thanks,
snuggle
but no
up.
thanks. No, thanks, but no thanks.
So it sounds like
Yeah.
you do
So
have those things that would be important to you in a partner.
Which, and they sound reasonable.
Hmm.
The more you expand your social circles, the more you can meet somebody naturally. Like, you like bicycling. Are you in any clubs for bicycling? Are there any clubs by you that you can meet people, that are interested in the same thing as you?
yes, I am. Some of them are a bit too advanced for me. I'm not the slowest guy, but I'm definitely not the fastest guy. And it's kind of hard finding the correct group because I don't want to be like completely dead when I get home. And I would like a little bit of an effort as well. It, there's several different types of riding bikes. But when I go on vacation in the Austrian Alps, I meet all sorts of people when I'm mountain biking then. In fact, just recently too, both, of course, just out of a marriage and their lives completely
Hmm.
in the camoodles. But whatever, it's easy to meet people when you're doing your hobby because you feel
Sure.
like very natural. You feel like in your own element there.
And I will say
But
that it's a much lower risk than, somebody at work where you would have to interact with them every single day if something went wrong, or HR could get involved as we talked
yeah,
about. So
Yeah,
I like the idea of expanding your social circle. That could even mean that you do cycling adjacent things. I don't know if there's like similar types of like athletic groups that you could join or try.
Yeah.
Being social, it's huge. It might not be, you meet somebody at one of these clubs, but you might befriend somebody that introduces you to a new group of people.
right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like looking for a job and you're networking. You never know what kind of opportunities you'll get until you're there and until you're talking with, many different people and just open to it.
Right. Yeah, that's
It's a
true.
it's a real
Yeah.
struggle that a lot of people have.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with so many people working at home, it's made it challenging, you know,
Right.
for people to meet new people. So
Hmm.
the more you find hobbies and interests and can find groups and people that enjoy similar things, the more likely
Mm,
that those connections can help you meet other connections.
Hmm.
So I agree.
sure.
I think that's
Yeah.
an important part of meeting new people. Obviously, dating apps, but a lot of people are struggling on them.
Hmm.
Oh, don't get me started. Uh, I- of course, where I live, we enjoy the metric system. I don't want to diss America too badly with your feet and inches and everything, but whatever. It has, I guess, some king's tail was like 12 inches long, whatever. That's why 12 inches are 12 inches. Who knows? But um, there's like the three sixes, I think, in America. Six-figure income, 6 feet height, and of course a six pack. And it's like so stupid, And if you set your filters to that, then you don't see anyone like 5'11", and that's tall too. I mean, it's just so superficial, and I just I am on one, but I deactivate it and activate it again, and then I deactivate it again because it's just boring. Uh, yeah, and I don't do Tinder and that stuff. I'm not that type of guy. I mean, by the way, 2/3 of all people on Tinder, at least women, are in relationships anyway, and they're just testing their market value. I'll just say that because there's statistics. But why find someone good there and then, oh, I have a boyfriend? What are you doing here?
Trying to upgrade.
You're bringing up a great point. When you have certain criteria and certain standards, that does narrow the pool quite a bit, or it can, especially on something like a dating app where you're quite literally filtering out people. And there's things that
Right,
can be, like absolute deal breakers, core values that you want to have in another person. And then there's things that might be more flexible. I know you had said that your hobbies are really important to you, that athleticism, somebody who also shares that passion for sport. Maybe the love of your life is a runner and not a cyclist, or a cyclist to be. So
right, maybe, yeah,
expanding some of your definitions of what that could look like, right? And what things can be skills that somebody can learn because they're interested in you and they like your interests and they're willing to learn and be open about those things versus not.
The other component of it is that a lot of times when we like somebody so much, they can feel it and it overwhelms them. So you have to
yeah,
be very careful on how much interest you're projecting onto somebody because that makes them feel pressured. If you ever think about somebody that has really liked you a lot, right? We've all had these people in our life where somebody that we didn't know that well liked
Mhm.
us a lot, and that overwhelms us. It's nice to have a
right,
little bit of that attention, but then you feel like if I ask this person out or invite them, they're going to be hurt if I don't have that same level of interest.
mm,
And so they're reluctant, or in this situation, like you'd be reluctant if somebody's interest level is high and you weren't sure about them, you're going to be reluctant to go out with them because you're like, I could go out with them and maybe, but I feel like if it doesn't work out, they're going to be really upset or they're going to hurt my feelings. So you just try and kind of stay away. And so maybe your coworker is feeling something like that. I don't know. Maybe she just
possibly.
feels like you like her so much that she would be interested if she didn't think there was so much pressure going into it. So we have
Mhm.
to be very aware of the pressure we're putting on people. And some people have so much tunnel vision on how they feel that they're not seeing how they're making the other person feel.
Right. I try and keep myself as restricted as possible, especially since last Christmas. again, I don't reach out to her anymore. I only work-related issues and having lunch. And last week we had a coffee. All right, fair enough. But I definitely am trying my darndest to keep my outgoing personality stuffed in there as far and deep as I can when I'm talking with her. It's hard sometimes. And today, for example, she was just looking again a little bit at me, and I'm like, but work related. Then I can't, yeah, kind of hard sometimes.
You got to make sure that you're not putting so much pressure into it, or allowing yourself to like somebody so much that you don't really know. And that a lot of is about our unmet needs, that we're
Mhm.
putting so much fantasy on somebody
Right.
and they can sense that, right? People can feel that. You have to ha have reasonable expectations of, I don't know who this person is. I know find them attractive and I think that they're funny, but I don't know who they're going to be a year from now. They could be horrible.
Right.
They could be liars or, cheaters or who knows.
Mm.
Yeah.
But just because you know a little bit about somebody, we have to be aware of how much we're fantasizing.
Mhm.
And when we don't know them that well, it's easy to do.
Mhm.
Right. And one thing that I'm thinking about here too is you had said with, I want to say Francesca, the
Mhm.
longer term ex, that had faded out and then you had met your colleague. Was that?
Right. We met before a little bit, but for about a good year, it was just
Mm,
my pretty colleague, and I was, of course, in my serious relationship and healthy relationship with Francesca then. And
mm,
of course, I noticed Olivia, obviously, but I wasn't into her. And that
mm,
just kind of evolved during time. Maybe when it started de-escalating a bit with Francesca, it's kind of hard to put a fingernail on it, or a thumb point,
Well,
thumbnail.
what probably happened is that when you were with your girlfriend, you weren't putting pressure on it because you were in another relationship. So it naturally
Right.
kept you from coming on too strong or liking her too much. But once you ended it with the girlfriend, all of the focus, all of the fantasy that you had building up went on
Mm.
to this Olivia, right?
Olivia, right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that can happen and people can feel that shift in the energy, just
Mhm.
like the disturbance in the force.
Right, exactly.
I
Yeah.
guess what I'm thinking about when revisiting this part is you had told me some of the traits that you would like in a partner. Are you looking for companionship? What would be some of your relationship goals for your life?
Um, I don't know if I'd like to marry again. That's not my priority, but I live in a fairly large house all by myself, and I didn't want to live in there for the rest of my life alone. And
Mm,
I wrote in the description my anxious core, and there's no better way of phrasing that for myself, although I believe I've become much better. It still is afraid. Am I going to be alone the rest of my life? Just because the last 10 months, I haven't had any luck with the girls, and especially the ones I would have liked. And meeting new people, yeah, goes well, doesn't go so well. And it's just
mhm.
like this pattern. And it's been like that also between my other relationships as well. And I was a fairly late starter before I got married, in fact. And it just it's it's kind of what expectation do I have? Of course, who doesn't want a companion, but the rest should fit as well.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, you're gonna ideally spend the rest of your lives with each other, and there's not always going to be the sexual component. There's not always going to be the physical attraction there. So you better have a good foundation. Otherwise, I mean, at least you should cook well. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think you're probably unconsciously putting pressure on the ones that you like a lot. And that's what a lot of people do is they
Mm,
project their fantasy and those unmet needs, and then it just comes on a little strong.
mhm,
And the ones that you're not so interested, you're naturally not doing that. So that's why they feel a stronger attraction to you because that dynamic, they can feel it. The energy is not off. So
yeah.
being aware and conscious of how you may be showing up or projecting fantasies on people that you don't know or liking somebody too much when you don't really know them.
Well, and one thing that I do like about what you've shared is there is that confidence. You're able to say, I'm a great package. I've got all of these things that I know other people would love. And I like that mindset because that's coming from a place of confidence. That's coming from a place of, I do have a lot to offer in a relationship, and somebody would be lucky to be with me, even the ones that I like. Right.
Finally, someone says it out loud. Besides my mom. Just kidding.
She paid me to say that, actually.
I
Great,
had a
now
word
he's
with
just
her.
gonna spiral after that comment.
Just kidding.
Well, we
Yeah,
really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing everything, and hopefully we've given you some strategies or things to think about that can help you.
you have. Thank you both.
Keep up doing the course
Sir, yes, sir.
and
Yeah.
keep up that hard work. You've been working really hard, and thank you for sharing your story.
Sure.